Howdy, small group. We've got a great session planned for you today. The big idea is this: we can choose to carry the good news and find life, or we can choose to carry the bad news and find death. The bad news screams at us. It's everywhere. You turn on the TV, you go to social media, you hop in traffic, you go to work, you hear people gossip and how frustrated they are about life. Bad news is everywhere. We've got the option. We could carry the bad news of culture, or we can embrace the good news of Christ. In the end of 2 Kings chapter 6, going into 2 Kings chapter 7, we see that there is not a lot of good news to be had in Israel. They had again been besieged by Syria, and Syria had taken a lot of their resources. But not only that, but Samaria, the capital city of Israel, has gone through a time of famine. And so now they are without hope. They feel lost, they feel hopeless, they feel helpless. And the King Jehoram, is leading the charge and feeling hopeless, to the point where he had heard of this woman who had literally eaten her own child. That's how bad that the economy and life had gotten for them. They were eating their young. So what the king does is he chooses to take out all of his frustration on God and on God's prophet. God's prophet, as we know, is Elisha. He's a guy that is chosen to carry the good news. And so what happens is this in this story is that God is again going to provide in a crazy, unlikely way that really serves as a metaphor for you and I to share the good news. So King Jehoram comes after Elisha. He sends a messenger and an army to come apprehend Elisha, to make an example out of him. All of Israel is riled up about how bad God is. And so what Elisha says is, this time tomorrow, you're going to have all the provision that you need. Now, the press secretary of King Jehoram, the messenger, doesn't believe it. And Elisha tells him, because you do not believe, you will not experience those blessings. It's really kind of a crazy story within the story. So then what happens is there are these 4 lepers. These are the most unlikely characters to bring hope to the economy. I mean, if you're a leper, you are hopeless, you are terminally ill, you are lonely, you're considered unclean, you are unwanted by society. But these 4 men were at the gate, and they decide to go to the Syrian camp to just ask them for some help. And so they decide to go over there. Well, while this is going on, the Syrian army has gotten spooked because God has caused some different things to happen. And it's almost like this type of an illusion. They freak out, and the Syrian army completely leaves their camp. Now, it would not have been the custom that when you left your camp, you left all your stuff, your food and your riches and your armor and all that. But the Syrian army left everything. So these lepers, they basically have nothing to lose. They have no hope in their life. And they're like, we're just going to go to the Syrian camp. What the heck? And so they go to the Syrian camp, and they find that the camp is completely abandoned, but all the food, all the riches, everything is there. And so these men go from rags to riches. They go from completely hopeless and lifeless to they've got all of these riches just to enjoy life. And so that's literally what they do. These 4 guys, these 4 outcasts are like, man, let's enjoy this. But after some time of enjoying it, they felt bad. And the reason they felt bad was because they had good news and they weren't sharing it with the people that they knew and the people that they cared about and the people that they loved. And so what they do is they go to the nation of Israel and they share the good news. And guess what happens? The nation of Israel is able to be revived with their economy, with their nourishment, with their riches, all because God did a miracle and he used the most unlikely people to share the good news. Now, I don't know about you, but I am so grateful that some unlikely people shared the good news with me in my life. And I know a lot of people that are in group right now, you are very grateful that someone shared the good news with you. Even yourself, you might think, I was such an unlikely person to hear the good news about how God could save me, but I'm so glad that that person shared with me. And it really causes me to raise the question, like, don't we all want to be like those lepers that share the good news? we're all hopeless. We're lost in our sin until Jesus came and lived and died and rose again. So he defeated our sin and he defeated death. And now, just like those lepers went and shared with Israel, you and I can go and share the good news of Jesus with our family, with our friends, with our neighbors, with our teammates, with our classmates, with our coworkers. We've got this incredible opportunity. And that's why I say, you and I, we can choose to carry the good news and find life, or we can choose to carry the bad news of culture and find death. Most of our world is carrying the bad news. Let's be different and let's carry the good news. Now, some of you are like, man, I am not a preacher. I'm not this great minister. I've not been a believer for that long. But there are 3 things every single one of us can do. The first thing that you and I can do to share our faith is we can invite and we can include. March and leading into April, these are times where people that don't even come to church are thinking about coming to church because Easter is near. This might be a time where you just simply invite your friends to church, or you invite your friends to young adults or legacy adults or to youth group, or you invite them even in what you guys are doing right now in your small group. The enjoyment that you're experiencing in small group, growing together, praying for one another, supporting one another, don't you want that for your family, your friends, and the community? So why don't we just include and invite people? You don't have to have a whole presentation ready, but you can do that. The second thing you can do is, if let's say people are a little bit leery of coming to your small group, or they're not ready to come to church, you can bring church to them. You could say, how can I pray for you? You can be there for them when they need it, or you could just simply make yourself available to them to bless them. So you can include and invite, you can bring church to them. And the third thing that all of us can do is we can share our story. And every believer, if you've been saved, like those lepers received all the riches from God, even though they didn't deserve it, we received the riches from God, though we didn't deserve it. Every single one of you, if you are born again, bought with the blood of Jesus Christ, and you've been saved, you should have a 3-minute testimony. Every single person. This is what my life was like before I met Christ. This is how I met Christ. And since I met Christ, this is how God has changed my life. So in your small group, you've got an icebreaker. I know you're going to talk about what's some element of good news that you've had in your life that you might want to share with your group. But as we get closer and deeper into the scriptures, I hope that we all start to think about, how can I be like those lepers that shared the good news? I am praying for you guys this week. I hope that your group goes well. And I hope that there's more people in your group next week because you included and invited them. Love you guys, and we'll do this again next week. We'll see you.